Hi everyone, I'm Hannah and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about all the knitting I got done in the month of April. I feel like I have quite a bit to talk about today. I got a lot done during the month of April. I ended up, as you can still tell by this lingering cough, I was sick for like 2+ weeks. I ended up with like a sinus infection. Not fun. So that left a lot of time on the couch to knit when I was feeling up for it. So I feel like I got a lot done. I have a number of finished objects to walk through. I have a handful of things in the works. I ended up acquiring a little more than I anticipated this month, so I'll share all the new things with you as well. Let's just jump right into it. First and foremost, I want to talk about what I'm wearing today, which is my first finished object, and I brought this mug that I actually made to match with it quite well. But it is the Lakes V-neck pullover by Ozetta. I actually cast this on April 1st and just powered through. I worked on it, quite a bit. Obviously I finished it in less than a month. I really love how it turned out. I really love this color. I love the fit. Yeah, no complaints really. So this is made with yarn I bought in Copenhagen on my trip there last fall. So it is Jeopard yarn, probably saying that wrong, Jeopard yarn, Pure Lana, and it is a held together with a Sandusgarn and alpaca lace weight. Yeah, and I'll put the colorways on the screen because I think they're both just numbers. And it just created like my favorite green color. So these are the two yarns. So you can see they're kind of like different shades of green, and I was a little nervous about it, but it actually works up quite nicely. I'll see if this will focus here. Yeah, you can kind of tell. It's subtle, but it just gives it a little bit of dimension, and I think it works really well together. I had started making a cardigan with this yarn combo, which was like my original plan for it last year, and that just, the gauge was off. It just like was not working. So I frogged it and sat on it for a minute and tried to figure out what I wanted to make next. And yeah, just I have been seeing this specific pattern. I feel like the Lakes patterns seem to be quite popular right now in the knitting world, and yeah, I hadn't really been drawn to V-neck sweaters before, but something about this one really stuck out to me, and I really love like styling it like with a t-shirt, like a crew neck t-shirt underneath. Yeah, I'll insert some footage of like the fit. I have some footage pre-block and then post-block. This is a saddle shoulder construction sweater. So you start by making these squares, or rectangles rather. You knit both of these and then connect to the back, connect to the front, and eventually connect under the arms and go from there. And yeah, this V-neck, I was a little unsure of like how this was all gonna work. As you can see, it like comes to a point right here. But that was actually quite easy. The only real modification or change I made to the pattern with this one was that my row gauge was a little bit off, and so I think I knit less on the back panel to start. So the pattern says something like, you know, knit 50 rows or until it reaches 7 inches or something like that. So I didn't knit as many rows as suggested. I just went with the measurements, which means I had less rows to knit on the front panels to match the back. So I kind of had to do a little bit of adjusting there because the V-neck depth, like the bottom of it is not too far off from where you connect in the underarms. So I think I didn't make it quite as deep as the pattern suggested, but because my row gauge was off, it looks the same. I don't know if that was like the best way to explain that, but just a little bit of math to figure out how to make it work with my row gauge being a little bit off. But then yeah, once I was connected under the arms, I just knit until it was the length I wanted. I did end up ripping, I like did the whole ribbing and everything, and then ended up ripping back and adding another inch or two just because I was looking a little bit too cropped, but that was, you know, pretty easy. And yeah, other than that, it was pretty smooth sailing on this pattern. It's not too complicated, but it was fun to work with saddle construction shoulder again and learn how to do this V-neck double folded collar. And yeah, overall I'm really happy with the finished object. Yeah, I really see myself wearing this a lot this spring. I'm just loving the color, the fit, everything about it is just exactly what I wanted. So very happy with this one. My next finished object is the rib lace raglan. Let me back up a little bit. This is a top, all over lace top, and it is designed by James and Watts. It was my first lacework pattern. There's definitely some mistakes. I feel like there's one that's kind of visible, like somewhere right in here where I did the wrong thing, and then there's just like, I don't know, if you look closely, there's a couple mistakes, but it's fine. And yeah, this one I started last month or the month before, and finished it off this month. Part of the problem I was having with this one and why I like kind of paused a bit was had previously also used this yarn in a different project, had frogged it and had washed it to like get the kinks out, and when it was drying it was like turning yellow in certain spots. I think it has something to do with the fact that it is undyed cotton, and so that was like kind of discouraging because the yarn was like not looking great, and I was not sure if it would like come out again or what, if I was gonna maybe dye it or do something to mitigate that. But anyways, I ended up finishing the garment with the yellow looking yarn, and I made a whole like short form video on this. It's on my YouTube shorts and Instagram reels, but I ended up bleaching it or soaking it in some bleach or diluted bleach in water for about 10 minutes, and then I put it through the washer and dryer, and that like totally fixed it and definitely brightened it up. So very happy with those results. I was like not sure how that was gonna go and was hoping for the best. I was like, you know, I looked it up and it seemed like the yarn could handle it. This, by the way, is the Appalachian Baby yarn brand, and it is just their cotton, US organic cotton in the natural colorway. Yeah, and I saw in Ravelry too, some people in the comments were just talking about this shade particularly having that problem. So I don't know if it just has like undyed cotton that has this discoloring issue, and I will definitely report back as I wear this if I continue to have the problem when I wash it, or if I'm gonna have to like do that bleach soak more regularly. I don't know. I'm also like not opposed to just over dyeing this and like dyeing it a different color. I did like want it in this off-white shade, and that's why I chose the yarn, but if it's causing issues, I'll probably just dye it a completely different color, which could also be fun to figure out. Maybe I'll try like a natural dyeing method or something just to, you know, do something different. But yeah, overall, I feel like this will be a good summer top. I was just wearing it with like just a bra underneath it, and it seemed fine. I thought it would like, I would need a tank top or like a layer underneath, but it's really not. I mean, obviously there's like a lace pattern, but it's not like, it doesn't come across as like see-through or mesh. I feel like it works. Yeah, I'll insert a picture of what I'm talking about or what that looks like. And yeah, my thought behind this was like summer over a bathing suit, or, you know, more casual summer top, and I feel like that is just that. I definitely enjoyed trying out lace and you know, working a lace pattern or pattern with lace in it finally. It was quite enjoyable to knit, like just engaging enough, but I could easily memorize it and not have to reference the pattern. I would totally make this again. I debated also doing like a long sleeve version because there are instructions to just keep going on the sleeves, but I'm happy with the short sleeves. Maybe I would knit a long sleeve version in the future. So that is the rib lace raglan. And my last nearly finished object is a very exciting one. This is the Lakes pullover, not V-neck, just regular crew neck version. That is for my fiber school class that I'm taking right now. So this is yarn that I took all the way from the fleece stage all the way to making it yarn. So I picked the fleece, washed the fleece, processed brushing it, spun it up, and finally knit it into something. So a major labor of love. This is like so dark and the camera's not reacting well to it, so I'm just gonna insert some B-roll of it. I've already partially filmed like a whole process video on my fiber school experience, going through the whole process of, you know, starting from fleece and ending with a garment. So I will go much more in depth about this sweater and the whole process, and probably will be my next video I post. But I'm really happy with how this turned out. I really love this fleece and the color variation in it. It's obviously like a dark brown, but there are like flecks of lighter color. There's hints of gray. It's just like there's a lot of dimension to it. My yarn spinning, this was the first time I spun yarn for a garment and went pretty ambitious with making that a sweater. So it definitely has its quirks. The yarn had, you know, thick and thin parts, so there's like definitely some variation in the look of it, but I think it just, I don't know, I guess just doing the whole process and like knowing all the work that went into it, I love it, and I think I will get a lot of wear out of it. Ended up being quite like Aran bulky weight yarn, which was not my intention spinning, but you know, first time spinning for a garment, things happen. And so, but I was pretty set on this pattern. I really wanted, you know, a classic sweater that I'll be able to wear for years to come. So I was really wanting to make this pattern specifically, and I basically had to make a spreadsheet and just convert all the numbers in the pattern because I was so far off gauge with this being so much thicker, which honestly I kind of liked. It was like not that complicated either of a pattern to do this for, and I enjoyed the process of like converting all of the numbers. Was a little fun project for me. So yeah, I think the fit of it is great. I still need to block it, so that's why I say it's like partially finished. I still have a couple ends to weave and need to block it and everything else like that. But yeah, more to come on like the full process of making this sweater from scratch essentially, but very happy that this is finished. And yeah, we have one more class where we are basically just showing off our finished project, so I'm excited to you know, show this one off and then see what everyone else in the class, like see everyone's finished projects. So that will be next weekend. So yeah, I need to get blocking and everything because I feel like this might take a minute to dry. So yeah, that is my fiber school Lakes pullover. Right, that is all of my finished objects, and next let's talk about our works in progress. I feel like I'm like a teacher with my notebook and pen here. All right, my first one that I will mention quickly, because this has now been in like every video, are these French Connection sock pattern by Summerly Knits. I last month finished this first sock, or I say finish, I still need to do the heels. I'm doing an afterthought heel, but I wanted to just finish both the sock tubes first. But this, ooh, dropping stitches. Okay, we're fixed. I did make decent, oh my gosh. I just need like stitch holders or something. No. Okay, perfect. Anyways, I did make decent progress on the second sock. So yeah, not too much to say here. I feel like I keep talking about these socks and I feel like it'll be like, I don't know, maybe I'll finish them this month, but yeah, not much to report. I'm just doing the same thing again. This is made with Issachar sock yarn in the color 40, and then this is Cascade Heritage in maybe sky blue, something blue. I'll put it on the screen. And I am still loving this color combination. I'm excited for these socks eventually, and I'm just taking my time with these. And this is only my third pair of socks, so I'm still learning and figuring things out, but enjoying it so far. My next work in progress is my Maggie vest. This is a pattern by Petite Knit. It is this little, it still looks kind of wild, but it is a like cardigan vest, I'd say, button up vest, and I started this last year, put it on hold for the winter because I knew I wouldn't wear it, you know, in the winter, and now that it's spring again, I'm working on it, and I just finished the body. So the armholes look a little wild because there's like pretty significant ribbing. They just look like ginormous right now. And it's all like rolling in on itself, but here's a little bit of what it looks like. I just finished that bottom rib and the bind off today, and I'm really happy. This is like one of my favorite ribs finishings I've ever done. Something probably about this like yarn and the needle size is just like perfect and looks very neat, which is not always the easiest. Yeah, so this I'm making with this Malabrigo Caprino yarn in the colorway Natural, which is a merino cashmere blend, I believe. It's like one of the nicer yarns by Malabrigo, but I got it on a really good sale at a yarn store that was closing. And this is all I have left. Which I've gotten a lot farther than I thought I would. I cast this on and was just like, oh yeah, I'll be good. And then got decently through the pattern before like doing the math of like how much yarn is suggested versus what I had. And I had 2 skeins and the pattern called for basically 5. So I don't know why I didn't figure that out sooner, but I think that's pretty wrong though, because I've done the entire body and all I have left are the armhole ribbing, the neck finishing, and then like the button bands for the cardigan. So I feel like with this, I can probably just buy one more. I've been waiting to like kind of finish this and see where I'm at to buy more to see how much more I would need. But I'm fairly confident I'll be able to finish this with just 3 skeins. And the pattern calls for 5 for my size. So I thought that was interesting. But yeah, I'm fingers crossed, hoping that because this is a natural colorway that I won't have dye lot issues, because this yarn store I bought it from is closed and it was like a closeout sale that I bought it on, so obviously can't get it from there again. But yeah, I think I can get away with one more skein. And yeah, this yarn is very soft. I'm interested to see how it wears and blocks out and everything else like that, but first impressions, knitting it, it feels great. I do need to think about buttons though. I haven't put much thought into that. My initial thought is like just a classic tortoise, you know, brown button look. But if you have thoughts on buttons, let me know. I'm gonna have to check and see. I have like this hand-me-down sewing kit that has just like a bag of buttons in it, and I'm like wondering if I can scrounge up enough for this from my random pile of buttons. But if not, I'll buy some buttons soon. Buy hopefully just one more skein of yarn, and then this will be done maybe in the next month or two. Other things in progress that have no progress this month. I did not work on my daydreamer cardigan at all, and I think I'm just going to put this in hibernation until like we're closer to fall, because it is a thick sweater with mohair and it's in like a rust colorway, and that's just like very fall winter. I don't think if I worked on it now that I would wear it between now and the fall. So I think I'll just hibernate that one and come back to it in, you know, 6 months. So yeah, pause on that one. And then my Stella quilt blanket. Yeah, once again, I did not do my square of the month. I did weave in the ends. That was huge because this was my last one I made in February for my Stella quilt blanket, and I am making a rule for myself that I can't cast on a new one until I weave in all the ends of the old one. And as you can imagine, with this many colors, there's a lot of ends to weave in. So I did do that this month. That was like a very good, I'm sick on the couch and cannot have any brain power to think about any like actual knitting thing to do. So keep that in mind if you're ever like sick and not feeling like, you know, thinking. Weaving in ends is a good thing to do. So yeah, maybe I will do one this month, but yeah, my whole like one per month plan is a little bit out the window at this point, but we will continue to work on it and eventually get to 12 of these. But one more new work in progress, which I literally just started yesterday. And that is this like butter yellow, that's what's trendy these days, light yellow short sleeve cardigan is the vision. So I kind of wanted to make a short sleeve cardigan for this spring, summer. I know there's a handful of like short sleeve cardigan patterns out there, but I was just thinking like I have a handful of cardigan patterns already in my library, and then I remembered I have the Hackett jacket pattern, which I made one version of like a year ago, and it's like a very bare bones, super basic raglan cardigan with a little bit of short row shaping. In the back is like the basic pattern, but then there are all these hacks. So there's like options for cables and different necklines and like side slits or short rows at the bottom, or all of like a million options, not a million, but a lot of options for just like different hacks for how you can change the cardigan, different textured options, all sorts of stuff. But anyways, it's a really cool pattern in general. She also has a just sweater version of it, but I am the cardigan one, and I was like, I can just use this. And there is not a hack for a short sleeve cardigan, but I guess I'm making my own hack and just doing a short sleeve version. And I was thinking about just following the original pattern. I didn't want it to be anything too fancy, like pretty basic raglan cardigan. Like I didn't want to do like cables or texture or anything like that. but I am opting for like the I-cord version, so there's not going to be a button band that I knit afterwards. I'm just adding more stitches so that it overlaps in the front. I'll attach the buttons to the like just stockinette section, and then I will finish off with an I-cord. I'll put a photo of like what that hack looks like. So that's what I'm following, and then I'm just gonna make it short sleeve. I think I'm gonna do like, I don't think I'm gonna decrease at all, like pretty loose sleeves and make them relatively long-ish, like just a little bit above the elbow. I'll insert some like, I feel like I don't know about you, but I've been getting this specific TikTok ad all the time, and this is kind of like the inspo for this little cardigan that I'm making. So that's the vibe. Also, the reason I thought of this, from early in my knitting career, wanted to make a sweater, and for whatever reason decided to buy cotton and mohair together. So this is the Barocco Modern Cotton and Drops Kid Silk. What is it called? The Drops Mohair. And I knit a good portion of a sweater, completely off gauge. It was ginormous. It was never gonna work. Frog that. But now I have like all of these frogged balls of like basically a sweater quantity of cotton and mohair together. And it's not the best combo. It doesn't totally make sense to do those two things, but I have it. I could totally like go through the hassle of separating these two out, but that just sounds like a nightmare, especially because the mohair like sticks to the cotton. And so yeah, I debated like, should I pull it apart and just make a cotton sweater and not use the mohair? But I don't know, I kind of like the fuzzy look of it. It's gonna be like a little bit of a strange fabric combo, but here we are. So I'm glad to be making use of this, because this has been like haunting me for a year or so, 2 years maybe, of just like, why did I buy cotton and mohair? I don't know. But when I did the gauge swatch, when I had this in mind, it like exactly matched the Hackett jacket gauge. So I was like, that's a sign. We're just gonna roll with it. So I'll update you on if this is like a wearable garment. I don't know, we'll see. But I'll update you on like how wearable of a garment this is. I wouldn't recommend the cotton and the mohair combo probably, but I do think the color match, I did nail the color match. It is a very good color match, so I'll give myself credit for that. But yeah, I think this will be a relatively quick knit. It's like worsted-ish gauge, so should work up pretty fast. And hopefully we'll get some use out of it in the spring and maybe into the summer if it doesn't get to be too hot. That marks all of my whips. Acquisitions now. So we're doing a story time intermission here that will circle back to why I bought yarn. It's a sad story. So if you've been keeping up with my Instagram or last YouTube videos, you'll know that in April I finished the Sonja sweater, which was a sweater I've been wanting for a long time, just like a basic cobalt blue sweater. Made a cardigan out of it, the cobalt blue yarn, frogged the whole thing because I really wanted the sweater and I wasn't wearing the cardigan. And I knit it, finished it, had it for about a month, and I'd been wearing it a lot. Like the most I had ever worn any finished knitted object right away. It was like, this is my dream sweater. The fit was great, all was well. And literally in my last video, I was like, oh, well, both these yarns are technically machine washable, but like that doesn't sound right. And like I always hand wash my my knit sweaters just because, you know, don't want things to felt or shrink. But I don't know why I was like, I guess I'll just try out this whole washing machine thing. And I did, and in the washing machine, it didn't even like go in the dryer, just the washing machine itself completely felted and shrunk the sweater to beyond repair. So RIP, Sonja sweater is no longer with us. I mean, she's in my closet right now, but she's about, you know, yay big, so yeah, that was tough. And in the moment, the day of, I was like, I need to buy more cobalt blue yarn and have the promise of a future cobalt blue sweater. Or, you know, I just need a little retail therapy to get me through the shrinking and, yeah, the ruining of my sweater. So I did buy some yarn that day. I ordered the Briggs & Little Heritage 2-ply yarn, and this is in royal blue. I believe this is like a worsted Aran weight. It's a perfect color. This is a yarn I've heard a lot of good things about, and it's quite affordable as well. I got a sweater quantity of this for under $50. I think it was like 40 something US dollar, which is pretty good for a wool sweater, 100% pure wool. It's a Canadian yarn brand, I believe. Yeah, product of Canada. And I don't know exactly what I'll make with it yet. I could revisit the Sonja sweater. That might be like too on the nose. I might need to like have a I don't know if I'm capable of knitting like the same sweater pattern in the same color twice. But maybe I'll make a lake sweater, pullover, maybe, I don't know, some sort of like basic sweater. Is what I'm thinking, because that's what I originally wanted and had for about a month before the incident. So yeah, first impressions, this feels great. I've heard great things about the longevity of this yarn as well, so I'm really excited to knit something up with this. And while I was at it, I was debating between the Regal and the Heritage yarn from Briggs & Little. I think one's more like DK worsted and one's more like worsted Aran, but very similar yarns. And the website I was shopping on, I had to be above whatever for free shipping, so I did buy 2 sweater quantities. But again, these are both like very affordable, so I got both of these in sweater quantities for $80 something, which I feel like that's pretty good for wool sweaters. So this is the Regal. This is just slightly thinner than this, but it is they're both 2-ply, 100% pure wool, same brand. They feel very similar. They look very similar. I don't even know if you can really tell that they're 2 different yarns, but it's really just in the thickness. And I bought this red, I don't know, I feel like I don't have a red sweater. I have a red cardigan, store-bought red cardigan, but I feel like I want to knit a red sweater. This is kind of given like holiday vibes, so it might not be knit up until like, you know, fall, winter. But this is the scarlet color. I feel like it's just like a perfect classic red, and yeah, no clue what I'll make with it yet, but a red sweater. So that was my purchase to help me deal with the loss of my Sonja sweater. One other purchase, I don't know how many of you use the like shop app. Like it's called Shop. It's like when you're checking out, a lot of the times you get the option to check out with Shop or whatever. And I have the app as well. And it was giving me like a crazy offer for Starlight Knitting Society yarn store, which is a yarn store in Portland, Oregon, I believe. the offer was like $20 off 35 or more, and it had free shipping, and I had like shop cash from like using, I don't know, whatever. Anyways, I ended up getting all of this, or not all of this, I got 4 balls of Knitting for Olive merino for like more than 50% off with this offer. So could not really pass that up. I wasn't really planning to buy yarn, but that offer I was like, okay, yeah, that's like, it was like $20 for 4 balls of Knitting for Olive merino. So I ended up getting the colorway Brown Bear. I think it's Brown Bear. It's like this dark, rich brown color, and I did knit up a swatch. This is probably gonna get all washed out again. You can kind of sort of see it, but I might just put a picture of what it looks like because my camera is not doing well with dark colors today. This, I am planning to make the Air Tea by Ozetta. Apparently I'm becoming a big Ozetta person. The Lakes pullover and the Lakes V-neck and the Lakes pullover are my first Ozetta patterns, and now I'm like sold. So I think this will be a labor of love. It is a fingering weight t-shirt, so that's gonna take a while. So yeah, I will probably knit that up and then have it for the summer fall. And yeah, I really love this color. Obviously, it's not so far off from my Fiber School sweater. I just love the dark brown. I feel like it matches my hair and complexion well, so that is my Knitting for Olive purchase of the month. And my last purchase is some spinning fiber related stuff. So one being, I ended up getting a blending board on this. I'll link it below if it's still there, but it was like this, someone in Fiber School told me about it, but it was a special edition version of a blending board that only cost $55, and it came with like all the equipment and like all the brushes and everything for a blending board, and like they are normally like hundreds of dollars from the same store. The only difference is like their normal blending boards are 12 by 12 inches and this one is 10 by 10. Don't think it'll make that much of a difference, and it was like a fraction of the cost for these like special edition ones. So I snagged one of those. I'm trying to like slowly acquire fiber spinning equipment, but not trying to like break the bank. So I felt like that was a good thing to get. And then I did buy some fiber. So let me grab that. Not to bring up Ozetta again, but she did just come out with the Lakes cardigan, which I do really love the pattern. But more than anything, I really loved the sample yarn, or the look of the sample, the yarn of it, which it is Noro Madara and Sake, I think. It's like you've seen it probably. It is a very popular yarn and color way. And I like it, but I feel like, I don't know, I was thinking more about it. I was on the verge of like buying some to make a cardigan, whether it be the Lakes cardigan or another one. But then I was thinking about spinning and like what I wanted to be spinning next, because I don't really have much fiber or anything. Like this Fiber School class was like my first real proper introduction into spinning. So yeah, I was trying to think about what I would want to do next, and I was like, I wonder if I can find some like tweedy fiber to spin and like make my own version of the Noro Madara look. And so I went to Etsy and I came across Walnut Farm Designs, and they have they're an Etsy store out of, I think, Pennsylvania, somewhere in the US, and they have a ton of different fibers, spinning fiber stuff. They have a bunch of different types of fibers for spinning. That's what I was trying to say. And I came across, they have these like tweedy, they have a bunch of like rainbow tweedy vibe fiber. And there's a couple I was choosing between, and then I was thinking like, this might be like overkill to just buy this fiber. Like I wonder if I two-ply it with like something and do like 1 ply of colorful fiber, 1 ply of like a, you know, brown or a gray to kind of tone it down a bit. Could be cool. So anyways, I ended up messaging the Etsy seller and they got back to me super quick. I like kind of explained like, hey, I'm thinking of getting this. What do you think would pair well with it if I wanted to 2-ply with, you know, a neutral? And, you know, I'm thinking of making a cardigan. What would you recommend fiber-wise, you know, as a newbie trying to figure this all out? They were super helpful. They sent me a bunch of photos of like things next to each other, explaining like, oh, you know, the BFL in fiber in this color is softer than this color, and, you know, I'd not recommend this if you're doing a cardigan. Like all of this information, which was so helpful and so kind, like great customer service. Would totally recommend if you're looking to buy some fiber. So I will show you what I ended up getting. So this is the colorful stuff. It has all sorts of rainbow flecks in it, and it is just so cool. So this is the Black Sheep Tweed is what it's called. It's 65% South American wool with viscose tweed, and South American wool is a Merino Romney Corriedale blend, and then 35% natural black Shetland wool. So it's basically all 4 different types of wool with a little bit of the viscose for the tweed bits. And I'm just so excited to spin this. It's gonna be so fun to see all of these little like color flecks come to life in the yarn. And to pair with it, I ended up getting this, which is 100% Blueface Luster BFL wool. And this is their light brown color, which is definitely like that grayish brown kind of color. But I think these will pair together so nicely. I think this will like bring out some of the more brown look, because I was hoping to go more brown than gray. And so yeah, I'm going to spin these, and the plan is to 2-ply, you know, one strand of this and 1 strand of this. So that is my next big spinning project, and I'm really excited about it. All right, that was a lot to cover today, and my camera is yelling at me that it is both overheating and the battery is about to die. So on that note, thank you so much for joining me today. If you're not already, make sure you are subscribed. You can follow me on Instagram at hannahwatts.studio for more real-time updates on my projects. And I hope you have a great rest of your day or night, and I will see you next time. Bye.